probably the weather. Oh, we're recording now.
Oh, we are?
We are now. Unscripted. That's what we're doing.
Yes. I don't know.
I think the weather changing will really just like throw you kind of for a loop.
Yeah, it definitely will.
So
Definitely will.
all right. So this is the OAC Podcast, episode number 4. Last couple episodes we've been going over bathrooms. This time around, we've kind of shifted gears and we're going to talk about kitchens and some other sort of like tidbit questions that we've received. The OAC is, at least in construction architecture, is owner, architect, and contractor. The C always throws me off for some reason. I don't know why. But owner, architect, contractor meetings, and we've taken that and turned it into a platform where we talk about construction topics, questions. We're going to be bringing on people and a couple of episodes down the road, maybe architects, maybe other owners that have gone through remodeling projects and sort of just talking about any sort of issues or questions that they have. So we're Rooster General Contractors, and my name is Justin Farrell, and this is John Ratley.
Hello.
All right. So first question, straight out of the grab bag. Is it normal for contractors to use your restroom on the site?
Yes. Contractors are people. They need to use the restroom. If you have a problem with it, then I would state that up front and ask for the contractor to bring out a porta-john. Obviously, that is going to cost you more money. I can understand not wanting guys covered in construction debris in your restroom, but understand that is absolutely normal and a basic human right. That's just like that's a basic. I mean, you can say no, and you might end up with a mess. I mean, that's just like, yeah. You might humiliate an adult human being and then wind up cleaning up a atrocious mess if you deny someone that right. I can tell you exactly what I would do if someone ever denied me the ability to use the restroom. So
no, let's not get into graphic details there.
Yeah,
I think for some reason it is kind of like a touchier subject because I mean you're talking about a wide variety of dudes with probably different eating habits, and if anybody's ever been inside of a travel center QT, it's just it's abhorrent. And so for having somebody come in that you don't necessarily know using your facilities, there is sort of some angst that you might have to smell a dirty smell.
Always. Even man, I've even been on commercial remodels where the owner maybe didn't want to open up their restroom to the construction workers, and been in construction all my life. I know how bad it can get, but again, that's something that it's just something that someone needs to address up front. Is if you're afraid cleanliness might be an issue, then you either need to double down on your cleaning or volunteer to pay for a porta-john.
I mean, I know you've been in construction all of your life. I've been in a professional setting the first beginnings of my career, and I can tell you both men and women have the same issues.
Yep.
And there are many funny stories from that where it has almost cleared out the office because somebody had a bad day.
Of course.
It's not just contractors, it's everybody.
It's just people who are still alive.
Yeah, shit happens.
Yeah. It's kind of like being like, is it okay for a contractor to breathe in your air when they walk into your house? That's what I think of it as. It's like, yeah, duh.
Well, so
rule, do unto others as you would have them do to you.
Fair point. So speaking of poop,
Hmm.
is it cheaper to fix a toilet or replace it? This might be better for a better question for a plumber,
Hmm.
but I've seen a lot of videos say like on Instagram right now of plumbers or like business owners of plumbers that are targeting other plumbers on like in like coaching, right?
Hmm.
And telling them, hey, you got to start offering these services. If somebody calls you to fix the toilet, you charge them $800, whatever, to fix the toilet. But you could also charge them or say, hey, do you want $1,200 to actually replace the toilet? And it's, they're figuring out ways to upsell somebody, but generally they're like, some people just like new stuff anyway. So you might be able to get a new toilet install out of it instead of just fixing a toilet. So, I mean, in an essence, is it cheaper to fix a toilet or replace it?
It depends on the problem that you're having. If it's an issue with the mounts on the toilet or any sealants, or if it's an issue with the flush mechanisms, then that's like a easy, fast fix, So I would say that if your repair costs exceed $500, then you should just get a new one. And if your toilet costs more than $500, then I don't think money is really an object for you. So you can just do whatever you want.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So if you had your toilet, it's flush and fine, but there is just a little bit of water sort of kind of creeping out from, say, the backside or
Mm-hmm.
one of the sides. Having somebody come and pull out that toilet to see if the seal, the
Oh, for
wax
sure.
is there and all that, that's going to be very important.
Mm-hmm.
That you might have just a bigger problem and end up spending more anyways. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I was going with that statement, but yeah.
And that maybe is not an issue with the toilet itself, but you might have to replace some of the mount in the sewer line or the gasket beneath it. And your mount will rust and the gasket will rot at some point. They're constantly exposed to water and all kinds of other things. So that will happen at some point. And if the toilet itself is mechanically and structurally sound, then it's way cheaper to just put a new gasket in.
Yeah. So I've got a friend in our church group, and his toilet has the device inside the tank. Instead of just, your typical flapper where it, opens up, goes down, and then it fills up, sort of the, like the $20 replacement valves at a Home Depot
Mm-hmm.
that just kind of slowly fill your tank up. This one has, the way that it was working, it was so strange. It was like somebody was pumping the toilet as they were filling it back up.
Huh.
And so I think it might have actually been how the overflow gets poured off onto the side?
Yeah.
That was like pumping water in. So it was like, and it would turn on and turn off. Also affecting the faucet. So I was washing my hands.
Oh,
The
weird.
pressure was like hitting hard, coming off, hitting hard, coming off. So
That sounds unenjoyable.
yeah, it was an interesting experience there.
Yeah, I think I would not like that toilet. It also
Yeah.
sounds like the kind of toilet you might pay more than $500 for.
I don't think it was a $500 toilet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I don't know if it's not fixed. I mean, if it's not broke, then you don't need to fix it. In the old school kind of method of toilets, like you were describing earlier, the flush mechanisms, it's like that's perfect. All you need is a lever, a chain, and a stopper.
Yeah.
So
you ever tried a bidet, John? It's getting a little personal.
Nope. That is not gonna happen, dude.
That's crossing lines there, I think.
Yeah, we're getting, well, it sounds dangerous. It sounds dangerous. And also, where's that water coming from? Am I really clean?
I think it's coming from the same spot that's filling it up. I mean,
Yeah, that's exactly.
yeah, okay,
Exactly.
fair enough. Oh, I just got a message that our shower door is ready for pickup. So
Nice.
I'll update appropriate parties on that project.
Nice.
So that's what I was checking on. So back over here, yeah. I accidentally. So regarding bathrooms, how do we get from we started talking about kitchens, now we're talking about bathrooms, but that's fine.
Did we?
Yeah, I said we're gonna start talking about kitchens, and I've got
Oh, okay. Yeah.
questions.
We've got like
focused
4 or 5
around-
minutes before there. Yeah.
So as far as kitchens go, we've talked in other episodes about what do you need to have before you actually start construction, and that's an idea.
Mhm.
But obviously with your idea you want to know how much is that going to cost, and so
Yeah.
so is $10,000, John, enough for a kitchen remodel? Obviously that there are a lot of caveats to that, but if somebody gave you a $10,000 budget to remodel let's call it a 12 by 12 kitchen, what would you recommend somebody to do? Where would they start?
$10,000 budget?
Yeah.
Ooh. I guess it would depend on the bathroom I'm looking at to see what like the
kitchen, not
sorry,
bathroom.
kitchen. Dude, I'm so stuck on bathrooms. Kitchens. If we it depends on the kitchen we're looking at. It depends on if they're trying to do an overhaul on the theme or design for the entire home. Where like our home, super earthy, wood grain everywhere, off-white colors, oriental rugs, that kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
If we were just gonna go the trendy route and start doing the black and white and like using gray as the neutral color, doing that kind of look, for us, $10,000 would not be feasible because we would have to overhaul all of our finishes, right?
Yeah.
In fact, we're actually kind of doing that one piece at a time right now with bathrooms, and then we may do it with the kitchen. That's a debate, but nonetheless, what I see to be the issue with kitchens is the people typically have something they want. These days, if you have an older home and you're remodeling your kitchen, people want to do an open concept. And that's great, but you're not going to do an open concept without relocating cabinets and fixtures in the kitchen, because that's why those kind of like galley kitchens that are set up like that, not the open concept where there's like maybe an L shape of cabinets or a row of cabinets and then like a island.
Mhm.
Having the alley kitchen where it's cabinets, cabinets, and there's nothing in between. If you delete that wall that's separating you from your dining room and your living room, you have to move all of that stuff. And so just deleting that wall, putting in structural support and moving those items, which more than likely means that you're going to have to buy brand new cabinets and countertops. But doing all of that's going to break 10K to begin with. So the only way to hit a 10K budget would be to say, I'm swapping out finishes. Like, we're going to paint the cabinets. We're going to buy new countertops. Maybe we change the backsplash. Maybe we change the floor, but we probably can't afford to do both if that's our route. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you can do a remodel on a kitchen, but it really depends on refining your scope and what you want to do, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of aspects to a kitchen. So the long story short, yes, you can, but also no, depending on what it is that you're wanting to do.
I would generally recommend people to run into a kitchen with a $20K budget. If you really want to change things out and you're not like, I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can do Corian countertops. You can do Formica countertops. You can buy the cheapest of everything and you can probably hit that $10,000 mark, right? But most people that are redoing their kitchen are not trying to build a dated kitchen. They want things to be updated. They want it to be sellable. And for that to happen, kitchens just have a lot of expensive items in them. So I would say that $20,000 is a good kind of like starting place for that.
Yeah. So where do you recommend somebody to start with a new kitchen? Is it picking out appliances? Is it picking a color palette? Is it picking, these are all just kind of like finish out items. Is it just a style?
I would say figure out what's important to you.
Okay.
I'm really big on color and texture and negative space. So for me, I would go into, and again, I'm not a trendy person. I'm an earth tones kind of guy. So I would go with like a really like soft yellow. I'd end up going more than likely with probably like white cabinets, white countertop, wood grain floors. Like I would be thinking in those terms. So I would start there and work backwards and be like, all right, well, if I'm doing this, then what does my hardware need to be? What tone of wood grain is going to work best with this palette? Like that's where I would start. Some people go into it and they're like, I need these appliances. This, and if the appliance is like their thing, their focus, then you pick the appliances and you say, all right, well, what are the requirements for these structurally and mechanically? And then what matches this? If you're like, I need all stainless steel appliances or all brushed nickel appliances, well, then whatever your color palette is going to be has to be able to complement that.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on what your focus is.
So there are a lot of different approaches to how to start a kitchen.
Yeah, always define what it is that matters to you first, because no matter what the project is, you're going to have to compromise at some point. I've seen $15 million projects go through and everybody has to compromise, just at some point. Everyone, the owner, the architect, the contractor, everyone has to compromise at some point.
So I saw an interesting stat doing research about kitchens not too long ago that stated, I think it was kitchens and bathrooms, but primarily kitchens. Those are the two rooms within a home that if you want to get the most ROI on your investment, it's updating rooms. And for like kitchens, it was like you get a 50 to 60% ROI, which is bonkers to think about. And so if you're moving out of a home or looking to just kind of add that bump to it, renovating your bathroom or your kitchen is definitely where you should start, not your living room.
Sorry, I thought Chompy ran out. Chompy's my dog. I think thought Chompy ran out. I think he did not run out. Yeah.
Are you looking at your window?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm hearing some commotion and stuff, and I'm like, maybe he did. He's a runner.
Uh-huh.
He's a runner. He will not run away, but he will go wander and explore. So it's fun.
The other day I was taking the trash out at like I don't know, 5 a.m. and I opened up my gate and Tucker saw something move and he just takes off. And I'm like, I got the gate open. I got one dog that's looking at me cross-eyed, and the other dog that's just gone. He's just gone. He eventually came back, but I was like, I can't run around yelling because it's gonna wake my children. So I guess I was like, the dog's gonna be gone. The dog's gonna be gone. So he'll come back.
Yeah,
He's a little scaredy cat. So
good.
Good. All right. So going vertical, how messy is getting a new roof?
It's really not, or it shouldn't be. Any good roofer is going to lay out tarps in the yard and then connect tarps to your soffit. And so as you're demoing the old roof, all of your debris is going to just slide on down that tarp into your yard. And they drag those tarps into a trailer and take it to the dump. So it shouldn't be messy. Now, if you have people that are doing your roof and they don't lay out tarps, then you'll find little pieces of asphalt and nails all over your yard for months.
But a good contractor is going to clean up after themselves.
Yes, a good contractor will set it up so it's easy to clean up after themselves. Yeah, because that's a big thing with roofing, is nails getting tossed everywhere, and then everyone's got a flat tire, and that sucks.
Yeah. Should you be home when contractors are working on your home?
If they are inside your house, I would say yes. If you own a home, I assume you're an adult and you can make your own decisions. But if I have strangers in my house who I do not know, and I have all of my worldly possessions inside of that house, I'm going to hang out. I'm going to be around, But if contractors are outside of your house and have no need to go in for like an exterior remodel, roofing job, whatever, then it really doesn't matter. You do whatever you want.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what was one job that we saw last week, John, that you found the most interesting?
And now I have to remember last week.
I know. I'll tell you mine.
Okay, you have one. You do it. Yeah.
Okay. So last week we were called to a home. This is a home that was built in the 1940s, 30s. So very old home. And we were asked to look at two things. Both were flooring issues. One was the floor had kind of bowed up and it was soft, and so the wood flooring was kind of moving up a little bit at the seams, and that was in the interior of the home. The exterior of the home on a back porch was a wood porch, and all of the boards had cupped. And so talking with the homeowner, the one thing that concerned me was like, we can fix the issue, but is that really solving the problem if we just fix a superficial issue? And looking at the sort of symptoms, I was like, do you mind if I crawl into your house? And, this home was, pier and beam. And before I even crawled underneath the house, I pulled that vent open and warm, hot, moist air just goes poof and just like hit me in the face. And I'm like, I'm in the shade. It's in the morning. This should not be happening.
Yeah.
And as soon as I crawled underneath there, I could just hear water just gushing down.
It's crazy.
So it turns out they had a water leak right underneath their house. And I don't know how long it had been running, but the owner was like, oh yeah, that's where our tankless water heater is. Ooh. So it was warm, so I guess that made sense that water had just been heated, and it was just pouring down into the house. I thought it originally was like a drain, but got it shut off, and now we're just waiting for it to dry up to get back to them.
Yeah,
that was my interesting job visit of last week.
Yeah, that was That was interesting, actually. I guess for me, it would be there's a home that had a very unique interior to it. It had a dome over where the kitchen table would go, which is sick. I like domes and towers. Yeah, I like that stuff a lot. They had like a wood grain library kind of area. And the home had been owned by a former security contractor. And so it had like cameras everywhere and like little hidden cubbies and that kind of thing. Also, that kitchen had like a very it wasn't quite Carolina blue, but it was like a powdered blue for the floor tile. And I thought that was beautiful. So I'd say between the hidden cubbies, which I would fill with ammunition and weapons, loaded weapons. I wouldn't put a lock on the cubbies. That way, if you try to break in when I'm not home, my kids can shoot you. But no, I would say between the hidden cubbies, the dome, and that powdered blue tile, which for the life of me, if I could rip it up and put it down in my kitchen, I would so fast. In fact, you have that kind of like pastel yellow on the wall, like not even like a saturated pastel. I'm talking like this thing is almost see-through. It's so opaque, right? Do that with like low gloss white cabinets, like not maybe even just satin cabinets.
Yeah.
With like a matte white countertop, and then do that powdered blue tile for the floor. Now we're getting into my range of what a kitchen should be. The kitchen is a beautiful sunny day. Everyone's happy in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's supposed to lift you up and get you ready to go out into the world. The rest of the house can be dark wood grains and burgundy.
Is there a big business in like pulling out old tile
and saving it?
Yeah.
It's hard to do. It would be very difficult. Like you'd have to, if you did it, it would be a business where you'd have to be like, look, we on average lose, 30 to 40% of the tile that we take up. Because most of it, as you scrape under the tile where the mortar is, you're going to break the tile.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that would pay to have something like that preserved.
Yeah. I was just thinking if there's a market for purchasing old tile like that. Like, would people pay more for like a worn down bathroom tile that was original to like 1950?
People would pay more for that for sure. Yeah, definitely. I just don't know how big of a market that is. Even like if you're doing a historic job repairing an exterior facade, you might save a couple of bricks from the original building, but you're more than likely going to go back with a like for like kind of deal. And then they'll have those bricks showcased in like an area and engraved, You see that a lot. If you have cedar siding, cedar is cedar. You just have to make sure it's the right profile. So I think preserving that kind of stuff, I get it. It's cool, but that's like turning your house into a museum, which I'm not opposed to. I like architecture, but I think for most people, the cost benefit isn't there.
True.
Like as much as I like it, I would never pay for that myself. I don't care how rich I am. I'm not going to pay someone to preserve tile. And be like, crush that up, grind that thing up and recycle it, put it into something, turn it into concrete, like just grind it up, throw it in a vat with everything else. That's what we should be doing.
Yeah. I guess that's fair. Figuring out another use for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that there's a ton of opportunity to recycle things that we don't do simply because it costs money to recycle it and it takes effort. So here's something you see, and this wasn't on the topic for the OAC today, but I am passionate about it. So there's all of these green building initiatives all over all over the country and the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of what they are doing is just like posturing. They're not they're not recycling anything, dude. And they might be like, you have to buy insulation it's made from like 60% recycled materials or whatever. And it's like, well, that's great, but what are you doing to manage the waste on site? The Dallas Green Building Initiative, which is literally just a ripoff from the state of California's Green Building Initiative they released in like 2017 or 2018. It's when you read through the Dallas manual, it still says California in like 50% of the places. So
they didn't even do like a simple find replace that just said find California replace with Texas.
they literally didn't do that. So super lazy. No shade at the city of Dallas, but that's no more than I would expect from you. So anyways, they have this big thing about how you're supposed to segregate your waste. You're supposed to have like metals in one container, plastics in one container, gypsum and silica products in another container and whatnot, right? And you're incentivized to stagger them and to separate them. Not at all. They just tell you with certain types of, like, if you're building a government building, they're going to say you have to do this. If it has any kind of bond money, they're going to say you have to do it. More often than not, it's just metal, not metal and concrete.
Okay.
But here's what's crazy about it. They don't recycle the metal. And I dug in deep on this because I had to produce reports on a government job I won't mention a while back, stating what exactly happened. And I had two people who I won't name look at me and say, just make that shit up, dude. And it was like, what? One of them was actually a city official who is one of the auditors for that program. And he looked at me as honest as he could, because I think I was annoying people, because I was like, I need to make sure we're doing this right. I need to know where everything is going. We're telling a story. This is something that aligns with our company culture. We're telling a story to our public audience about what are we doing, why are we doing it, yada, all of that kind of stuff, right? And this guy pulled me aside and he was like, you can separate it. You can even be like, I'm going to separate types of metals, from alloys to aluminum to tin to carbon steel to corrugated, all of that. But he's like, you can separate it as much as you want. Once we get it over to a nationwide waste management company, whose name I also won't mention, he was like, as soon as you get it to them, he was like, they just all toss it. They just toss it in the garbage. He was like, with the exception, if you have like massive pipe of carbon steel and you take it specifically to a metal yard where they separate everything and melt it down and then sell it back to manufacturers, you have a better shot with that. That's where crackheads go to sell copper. You have a better shot with that kind of yard than you do going to BFI, Republic, Waste Management, any of those like big guys, so I haven't seen any BFI trucks in a really long time now that I say that, but they all just toss it. And there's an excellent opportunity. Gypsum in particular is super easy to recycle because gypsum is all powders. It's compressed, compacted powder. It's something that you add water to and you mix it up and then you slap it on other gypsum products. It's the easiest thing in the world to recycle, but it costs someone like Waste Management too much money, not only to sort it, because sorting it is an issue.
Yeah.
Not only does it cost them money to sort it, but just the physical process of recycling it. They're like, there's not enough money to be made here. We're going to have separate facilities and all of that stuff. And so they just don't do it. And Dallas city officials are letting that slide. So that was my tirade for the day. I know that was way off topic. I'll stop myself. I can go deeper, man. can go deeper. Maybe we'll do like a special 3-hour broadcast on the construction industry's impact on environmental protection and what we are doing, what we are not doing, and what we should do.
Do you think people turn a blind eye to construction and waste?
No. No, it gets a ton of negative attention from advocacy groups. There's probably a huge blind eye turned by economists, government officials, and big corporations, just like anything else. Because at the end of the day, if you can make more money doing the wrong thing, people will more often than not do the wrong thing rather than the right thing.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Doing the right thing comes with a cost.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. But some costs are well worth it.
Yeah. So you started using a word shade, and I
Shade,
can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember who it was. More recently on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts. Can't remember the guy's name. Jason. Give me a second. I'll tell you.
Jason Bourne.
I wish. That'd be kind of interesting.
If
No,
Jason Bourne was real.
he probably is. He just doesn't go by Jason Bourne. James Lindsay. That's who
James
it is.
Lindsay.
Yeah, so he's been on Joe Rogan twice now. The first time that he was on, he was talking about how he wrote all of these like fictional papers about how, like, as an example, I'm gonna butcher this now. Like, fat people are glorious in their weight. Like, oh no, sorry, it was like, what's the difference between a bodybuilder and like a super large fat person, right? They're both big people, so how are you to judge that one is prettier than the other?
Oh, that's easy, but yeah.
And so he came up with all these different other articles that were just basically completely blown out of proportion, and then they got picked up as like, these are great studies.
Huh.
Let me try to find the other one. There was one that was about dogs, and it was just hoax studies.
Mm.
Let me pull up this. This is on Vox.
Oh, dude, I can make things up all day long if there's a market for. Oh wait, no, that would be lying. Yeah.
I'm trying. Anyway, well, it was just it was hilarious because he basically just came up with these hoax articles, passed them off as like legit studies, and it got picked up by left-wing type sources as like, this is what we should be doing. This is exactly, this is so true. And he did it all just out of comedy purposes, or whatever.
Yeah.
But he said shade so many times throughout the entire podcast. So
yes, I learned the term no shade from, well, I can't. Yeah. I learned that from my friend Darren. Darren did not go by the name Darren, but I can't say his nickname on air. That would be inappropriate. Yeah. But he would say no shade all the time, and he had like a lot of really trendy lingo he would use, and so normally I would just hear it and I'd be like, yeah, I know what that means, and I would just go along with it, and then later I'd have to ask someone else. But that was one of the ones where he said it so much that I had to be like, what are you talking about here? No shade? Like shade, like a shade tree? I like the shade. What are you talking about? And then he explained it to me, and I was like, I kind of like that. Cuts out a lot of syllables, so I've stuck with that one. I will continue to use that one long after it has lost its appeal. It might not even be popular anymore. I don't know.
Do you think this is educational for people, or do you think we're just kind of doing it? The OAC.
It is educational. If you listen today, we've been bullshitting a lot, and that that's going to happen. That's going to happen. It's super educational though, and the truth is that we can go as deep on a subject as anyone would desire.
Yeah.
But this is nothing but educational. And hopefully as it grows and develops and we adapt to as we adapt to our viewership and to the market, it becomes more and more helpful. That would be ideal to me, is that like this thing should be nothing if helpful.
Yeah.
Nothing if not helpful. I said that wrong. Yeah, but that's what it should be.
So we're on episode 4. I would suspect that we probably catch a good stride about episode 20 or 25.
Oh, I was thinking episode 1000.
Oh, well, I was gonna say just like you and me.
Oh, you and me. Yes.
As far as like actual content goes, maybe like public. I mean, we're not.
What I've seen is in more of the grassroots kind of stuff. I look at someone like Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and his wife Christina. They were going on air making episodes for like years and really weren't picking up a big viewership. They did have some viewers. I'm not going to say like they didn't, but it took them, for them to be the people they are today, took that full lifespan of the podcast. And they came into it pretty raw. It started with them sitting at like a folding table, and Tom had like the sound booth on the table, working the sound booth as they were recording.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan did too. His first episodes were done with a webcam and stuff, and it would just be him and Joey Diaz like smoking weed under black lights and laughing at each other. And he would obviously talk to fighters, but what I've noticed is there's that whole style, right? There's that segment, and then you want to turn in NPR. Every show NPR has is now also available in podcast, and that radio format is super cool. Like True American Stories, was it Freakonomics Radio? Albert Mohler, what is his called, man? Things Unseen by Albert Mohler. Pretty cool guy. No. Things Unseen is Sinclair Ferguson. My bad. Mohler has his own daily report thing. I just can't remember what it's called. But those guys, point is, I'm rambling. Point is, those guys are all highly structured. It's ran like a traditional radio show. There's an opening sequence. There's breaks for sponsors.
We forgot sponsors, John.
We don't have any damn sponsors, but if Rigid Tools would like to, I've been chasing a sponsorship from Rigid since 2018. I buy all your stuff. My company's color is orange, so you can see. My Rooster starts with an R. Rigid starts with an R. Call me. You can sponsor me for free, dude. I'll do it for free.
A match made in heaven right there.
I love
it. Starts with an R. Your business starts with an R, so it must go together.
I've caught a lot of slack over the years for liking Rigid, primarily from sissies who call themselves electricians and plumbers who are obsessed with Milwaukee. Milwaukee tools are made for women, and that's no shade thrown at women. I love women. I want to empower you. Shout out women in construction. But I think Milwaukee tools are made for people with weak, small hands. And Rigid sells their tools at a higher amp than almost anyone. So if you're doing like structural work, if you're like doing like pipe fitting, or if you're doing demo work, you want rigid tools, dude. You want that. And outside of that, I love different things for what they're worth. I like DeWalt for cordless stuff. I like Bosch for specific items. They've got that was it the bullnose or bulldog hammer drill? That's the only hammer drill I'll ever use. And it's been that way for over a decade. Bosch's orbital sander is next level. Their table saws, the portable table saws, top of the line. But rigid, I might be the only guy in the state of Texas that's advocating for you. And I really feel like you should sponsor me at this point in time.
So whenever we were on site in Fort Worth with Josh, he had busted out a bunch of, which we need to get Josh. We should
bring him on the show.
Yeah, we need to get Josh on here and chat with him about it.
Yeah.
Just whatever. That would be a very interesting OAC.
That would be absolutely.
So when we were on site in Fort Worth, he had busted out a bunch of like Ryobi tools.
Mm-hmm.
And we got on the subject of different tools and whatever. I was like, hey, you got to cover up that logo right there because we can't be seen with like Ryobi.
Yeah.
he couldn't stop laughing. He was like, oh man, don't give me that right now. And I was like, well, he was like, somebody gave him a whole bunch of Ryobi tools, like an entire box set of, whatever.
Dude.
But I mean, they if it works, right? Until it doesn't.
The Ryobi 10-inch miter saw is actually a pretty good saw for trim carpentry. Yeah. And another thing that I have been using forever and will use forever as long as they make it is I use a traditional Ryobi plunge router, and I take the guard off of it, and I put in like a zip router bit for drywall, and that's what I use as my drywall router. You get the warranty on it. Okay. They do a full replacement. You get so much dust in those things that you end up needing to have your motor cleaned like every year or 2 years. But if you get the warranty with that product, they give you a brand new one. So like literally like every 2 years, I get a brand new Ryobi zip router. And I just have a stockpile of batteries from over the years. Just
the batteries. That's like
I know.
That's like the most expensive part about tools now is that they're all battery powered.
It really is. But no, I don't talk any trash about Ryobi. There's the one thing I will say is that, again, everyone's got different strengths in the tool department. So I knew a guy that, and he was like a stagecraft guy. He wasn't doing a lot of heavy construction, although he does build heavy stuff. This dude does beautiful designs, does welding, just a really talented person. But one year, I think he got it for Christmas or for his birthday or something. His dad gave him like this tiny little Ryobi screw gun, and it was so weak that my hands were stronger with just a screwdriver than that was. It just saved him the trouble of twisting it so many times. But that's the kind of thing that I would, if you're using it just because you're working with machine screws all day and you don't want to turn a screwdriver all day and end up with carpal tunnel like the rest of us, then that thing has its purpose. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's because of tools like that Ryobi gets a bad name.
Fair.
Yeah, but Milwaukee it's for small children and women. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we are good to go for next week's renovations.
Good.
Contract came through.
Good. That's awesome.
What else do you want to chat about? I don't know where we're at, what time we're at right now.
Yeah, I don't really have anything going on. And I am doing a lot of estimates today. And we have a bathroom going right now, but no, I think we're good on this episode.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
What's our
Maybe
sign off?
we end up doing some fancy, maybe we do some deep dives here coming up, but we are running a 10% discount for kitchens and bathroom remodels that are sold in the month of April. So we may stick with the bathroom theme for the next month. Then if you would like to purchase a kitchen or bathroom remodel, we don't have a special code or anything. You just have to do it in the next month. So we give it to everyone, whether you know about it or not. That's all.
How do you get a hold of us?
You can call us on the phone at 214-843-0292, or you can email hello@roostergc.
Yep.
Hello at roostergc, HELLO. I don't know. Sometimes people hear things funny. They're like, hello, Jello. I don't know, man. I wanted to make sure people knew what I was saying.
We could set up a Jello at roostergc.com.
Give people Rooster Jello molds.
Yeah.
I would like that.
So,
all right, man. Talk to you later.
All right.